Hey, welcome back to the kitchen, guys. Today I am making some stew meatballs. So in this bowl here I have about 3 pounds of ground beef, 80/20. I have a pound and a half of ground pork. You can leave the ground pork off, but for what I'm doing, or you can add Italian sausage. For what I'm doing, I'm adding the ground pork. Now this is a lot, I know. One of the reasons is I love to make meatballs because it's one of those things you can store in the freezer for some time. You can either just make the meatballs and store it that way, or you can, after making it, cooking it in the oven and then storing it, like baking it in the oven, then storing it, and then you have a lot of options with that meatball. Like you can make meatball subs later, you can make sticky meatballs, you can make spaghetti and meatballs depending on how you season it. So for this big batch, like I said, I'm gonna make some meatball stew, which the meatball stew can also be frozen. But I'm gonna left some off and I'm gonna make some sticky meatballs, probably some Jamaican jerk sticky sauce later on. So I'm gonna season this up, and to season up I have my green seasoning, of course. I have salt, black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika. I have some allspice. I toast the allspice and then grind it up. I have Caribbean Sazon. And then here I toast some dry seasonings like rosemary, thyme, parsley, and oregano, and then I grind it up. I have eggs and I have seasoned panko breadcrumbs. So I'm going to season this up and come back. Okay, my ground meat is perfectly seasoned. You can just take your hands now and make whatever size balls you want. However, I have this little gadget here. I'm going to use half of the meatballs you're making. Actually, is going to be in the slow cooker. And then the other, so I'm going to do half for the stew. And then I'm going to put half in the oven and bake them off, cool them down, and freeze them for about, I'll leave it in the freezer for 2 to 3 weeks. Oh, why am I using my hand when I said I was going to use the little gadget? So I'll be back when I finish with all these meatballs. It's going to be a lot of balls. Okay, my seasoned meatballs that are going in the oven. The oven is preheated to 350. I'm going to cook these for about 45 minutes in the oven. And then these are going in my stew now. And to start my stew, I have some flour here. This is completely optional, by the way. I'm going to dip the meatballs in them and brown them off lightly before we put them in the slow cooker, which I'm going to chop up some onions and stuff while I'm browning to go with this stew. Minced garlic. I'm actually going to add a little bit of oil from the meatloaf in here. In the meatballs. I have a bunch of fresh vegetables here. I have onion, bell peppers, and thyme. And what I'm gonna do, oh crap, is put a half at the bottom and then put the other half at the top. Okay, let's get the meatballs in here. The rest of the veggies. I have a half a cup of red cooking wine. Add some tomatoes. A little bit of dark soy sauce. Hoisin sauce. And oyster sauce. I do have 2 green onions here that I'm going to smash and cut them in I have 2 cups of beef broth here. Basically, I just use 2 beef bouillon cubes with hot water. I'm going to add a little ketchup. Oh, this is not open. And last but not least, I have some potatoes and baby carrots and celery here. Put on the top. I don't want my gravy to be too liquidy, so I'm being careful with the liquid. Let me add just a little bit more hot water. And we are going to cover it, leave it on high for about 5 hours. Okay guys, it's 5 hours, and off camera what I did when I first closed it, I went back and I made a little bit of slurry using flour and water to make sure the gravy was thick enough. And so there you have it. So I was trying to adjust the camera so you could see this better, and the stupid phone fell. And so here we go guys, our stew meatballs. The ones that were baking, they've already taken out the oven, cool, and are now in the freezer. One day next week, I'm gonna make some sticky meatballs with them. Thank you so much for watching guys. From my family to yours and my kitchen to yours, God bless you. And I hope your 2026 is great so far. Now just keep going. No giving up now, okay? Keep going. Meatball stew goes perfectly with this weather right now. So instead of beef stew, I use ground beef and ground pork, and I make meatball stew.